Welcome back, crew, to beautiful South Florida and Boats versus Haulover, where Man and Machine take on Mother Nature down here at Haulover Inlet, Miami, Florida. And today's going to be a little different. We're going to talk about what happens when things really go wrong at Haulover. Now, as we saw in the very first clip of this, we saw the Wellcraft coming out of Haulover Inlet, and that's this crew here. And they're about to have a pretty bad day as they make their way out of the inlet. Things look okay up front, but it quickly turns. First, they've decided today wasn't the day for them to be out there, as they've already pulled that patented Haulover U-turn, but this probably could have been decided much earlier. All they had to do was check the weather and know this was probably not the spot they want to be in, but that's not where it really turns. Again, many things can happen to you in the inlet, and one of them is going to be this. Our crew winds up losing power to their engine on a rough day at Haulover. So to add insult to injury, they were already turning around because it was too rough, and then their engine dies on their vessel, leaving them in real trouble. Here we can see Cap's back trying to work on it, but at this point, when you're coming out of an inlet in a rough sea, you should already be on the radio calling for tow assistance or some kind of help. As you can see, he's not going to be able to get much done on his own here because it is just too rough offshore. Another mistake this crew's going to make when something like this happens, give yourself about a 5-minute window. If within 5 minutes you can't get your engine started, but you're still in decent water as you can see here, you need to go ahead and be prepared to do something to stop your vessel from doing what we're about to see happen, as the wind and current is about to start working this vessel and carrying it to the shore. So one of the key things they would need to do in this situation to avoid what's happening here was, after 45 minutes of being offshore, they've wound up where the boat is now beached, was they should have tossed an anchor once they realized something was wrong. Which is one of the key reasons why when you're going boating, you're always going to want to have an anchor on your vessel and plenty of anchor line, because as you're about to see here, this crew actually did decide to toss an anchor, they just did it wrong. First off, they did it too late. They should have done it much sooner than they did. Secondly, they tossed it off the stern of the boat, which is not a good idea because the waves were crashing against the stern. And third, this is their anchor. They didn't let out nearly enough rode for that anchor to catch. And the reality is they were in shallow water this whole time and could have done it at any point. This is the images outside of Haulover. Even up to almost a half nautical mile offshore, it's only 15 foot of water around the inlet, which means if they would have tossed that anchor much sooner, they could have stopped this well before that happened. But one of the key things that may be wrong when we see there's not enough rode, they might not have had enough anchor line. So once again, just let this one be a reminder to you guys. If you're going boating, I know you may think you'll never anchor up. Go ahead and get the anchor anyway. Buy 100 foot of anchor line, just in case you ever need it in an emergency situation. Here we can see the towboats come out to try and get them off the beach, but even this crew has tossed an anchor. Now, if the Wellcraft would have done this, even right here, as you can see, and tossed that anchor at about 4 or 5 foot of water off the bow of the boat, this probably would have been the scene for them, where they would have been just hanging out just off the shore. Yeah, they would have been in the waves, but the boat wouldn't have been on the beach. And one of the big differences in that is probably the amount they're going to be charged by this tow company to get this vessel off the beach. For those who don't know, there are two major differences when a tow company comes out to help you out. If it's just a tow, even if you've got tow insurance, it's likely covered by that tow insurance, or you're going to just pay a tow fee. When a situation like this arrives and you have to be pulled off of a beach, a lot of companies all of a sudden will switch this to what they call a recovery, or they'll call it a salvage. And a recovery is completely different, as a recovery, if they try and list it as that, likely will not be covered by your tow insurance. It may only be partially covered, and in many cases, it can go from being something that's covered 100% to something that may cost you thousands of dollars. And that's just for the tow portion, not including damage to your vessel that possibly could be incurred by it being on the beach like this. For example, this vessel's an inboard-outboard. It's very likely that once they pull this off the beach, there could possibly be some sort of damage to the outboard section of this motor because they can't trim it all the way up to where it's not digging into the sand. And another issue that can arise when you allow it to go on the beach like this, of course, the ocean has tides that are going to come in and out. So if you wind up on the beach and it takes some time for the tow company to get there, and the next thing you know, your vessel has lost some tide, they may not be able to get it off. Fortunately, in this situation, everything happened pretty fast, including the tow company getting here, and this crew winds up getting towed off. But of course, Haulover goes for the knockout blow in this one. Real simple, one round, and this one's going to be a loss for the boats, but I hope some of those tips help some of you out in the future. Thanks for watching, crew. I hope you enjoyed this episode of Boats vs. Haulover. If you did, please check out our other content. We have Wavy Boats, who does a bunch of great things down at the inlet. My channel, Broncos Guru, does some great comedy boating videos there as well. And of course, we got the Miami Boat Ramps channel that focuses on all the hilarity that happens at the boat ramps in South Florida. And if you guys haven't already, go ahead and drop an anchor on the subscribe button here.